The Department of Homeland Security warning state and local officials about the potential for violence this summer. So what's behind that threat? Plus, the NSA, in a rare move, going public to debunk Tucker Carlson's claim that he's being spied on by the NSA. What they're saying next. The Department of Homeland Security says it is watching closely for any potential violence this summer, particularly leading up to the August anniversaries of extremist attacks, including the 2019 El Paso Walmart shooting, which left 22 dead, and the 2017 Charlottesville car attack by a white supremacist, where one woman was killed. Now, this DHS bulletin shared with state and local officials, first reported by Politico, also included concerns that, quote, QAnon conspiracy theory adherents continue to promote the idea that the former president will return to power in August. Historically, some DVs have conducted violence and furtherance of conspiracy theories. Joining me now is CNN law enforcement correspondent Whitney Wild and CNN senior media reporter Oliver Darcy. So, Whitney, what more do we know? So there's this, this bulletin that went out. How concerned are they about actual events transpiring? And what does that bulletin tell us about the concern level?
So it is a heightened level of alertness without saying that there's an actual threat. So DHS, and this is very common with these types of bulletins, where they're saying to the state and local partners, you really need to be aware of what's going to happen. Start reading the room and figuring out if there's a threat. Right now, though, DHS says that they don't believe that there is a credible threat. So an important distinction there. However, this follows previous CNN reporting that the FBI had put out another memo that basically said people who are adherents to this QAnon conspiracy theory, some of them are going to grow more emboldened, more likely to commit acts of violence, while others start to realize that this whole thing is just totally untrue and are falling away from the theory and falling away from being followers. But people who, the smaller majority of people who are militant adherents to QAnon, they pose a real risk.
How much, if any, influence or impact did what didn't happen prior to January 6th, despite heightened concerns, despite alerts that may have been sent out, whether official or otherwise? How much is that influencing even just sort of the rate of these bulletins?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, what we know is that there was a recent report that was given to members of Congress that said DHS, even prior to January 6th, had put out like 4,000 pieces of intelligence products to, a variety of sources. So we know that they do produce intelligence products at a pretty high volume. But what we know now is that these pieces of intelligence are taking on a much new meaning, because the reality is you cannot ignore these things that seem to be percolating, because you just don't know when they're going to explode. And so the point is DHS is really taking on a new way to bring in their partners to the conversation. That was a change that they made following January 6th, when they realized they have to get their state and local partners to understand and start considering more the intelligence products they're putting out, rather than just sending out an email and saying, hope you get it.
This.
Yes. Yeah. Hope this email finds you well. Yeah. That doesn't fly anymore.
So we're also hearing, so former President Obama speaking out his concerns about the misinformation that's out there. Take a listen.
The degree to which misinformation is now disseminated at warp speed in coordinated ways that we haven't seen before. And that the guardrails I thought were in place around many of our democratic institutions really depend on the two parties agreeing to those ground rules, those guardrails, and that one of them right now doesn't seem as committed to them as in previous generations. That worries me, and I think we should all be worried.
Oliver, how significant are those comments?
Yeah, I mean, those are pretty stunning comments from Obama, raising the alarm, saying that one party is not dedicated to the guardrails of democracy. Look, Obama has been one of the, only national leaders, really, raising the alarm about the information crisis this country is in, the poison that flows through the political discourse on a daily basis that makes it difficult to govern. When you have one party basically, generally adhering to facts and reality, and another party in la-la land, it's difficult to come together in Congress and elsewhere and pass legislation. But outside of even that, it's difficult to live in a country with one another, right? Where, in the past year, for instance, you have people who refuse to wear masks because of misinformation and conspiracy theories. Now people are refusing to get vaccinated. And obviously, on January 6th, you saw what misinformation can do. So it is a real issue, the information crisis. Obama's addressing it repeatedly. It's about time, actually, some of the other national leaders to start talking about this.
Oliver Darcy, Whitney Wild, appreciate it. Thank you both.